All right, hey everybody, it is me here with another JP update as JP continues its long, proud tradition of updating. So yeah, Tetra Selfie card is out, and as you can see, it's not on our major talking points today. One of the things I want to talk about is the new Final Fantasy 13 event for Trial of Judgment, because I know people are interested in those kind of events. Not everybody, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to cover it anyway, and the other thing we're going to cover today is Master Ability 2s, because there was a bunch of them dropped, and I kind of want to show some of them off. So really, I'm just going to touch on the Tetra Selfie. First of all, Tetra Selfie Chaos version is a new version that is essentially Glassy's new Esper. Like the new version of Glassy, or maybe some spear units are definitely going to be happy to see this unit. Can also double pretty nicely as just a wind elemental summon, so good for a couple of categories that really needed some more support, and happy to have her here. Other than that, HP-wise, stat-wise, I mean, she's pretty well divided between magic and attack. More on the attack side with about 109 max attack. Agility is 17, which is definitely respectable, but nowhere near as fast as I kind of thought she would be. I kind of thought she'd be one of the faster Espers, but I guess not. And other than that, generally, nice Esper that can decrease wind resistance by 40%. And as for her skill tree, it really just focuses in on wind attack, earth killer, pierce attack up, undead killer, missile resistance, accuracy, and just evocation damage. So a nice Esper to be sure. And as for the vision card, it's a fire and wind vision card. Both of those elements, I think, needed strong vision cards. And this is essentially the Chaos Odin version of that in terms of all the abilities it gets. Stat-wise, I mean, over 400 HP, 180 attack, 2 defense, 40 dexterity, 4 agility, and 15 luck. Is a pretty high statted vision card, but much as you would expect for a 90 cost vision card. It's essentially powering up physical attack units, not magical attack units. So plan accordingly if you really want this vision card, but the banner is just garbage. I really don't want to spend a huge amount of time talking about the banner, because I don't think they're good enough. All right. So let's talk about the FF13 event. Thankfully, this event is pretty good in terms of bonus unit ability. Like if you want to take a look for a long-term player perspective, there's a mass amount of bonus units. With Hope and the two of the vision cards being the largest bonus, but as you can see, there's a good amount of bonuses even as we scroll down. Lots of units you can potentially bring in. Many of these being the new Master Ability 2s that we're going to talk about, so that's convenient. And yeah, lots and lots and lots of bonuses that you are able to get. So other than that, the event has, the regular setup that you would expect and kind of the regular bonuses you would expect. As for the boss, no Fang this time. We actually just have this behemoth, Lassie, or is it Balsi? I thought Balsi was in the Lassie, this is like a failed Lassie, I think. Anyway, so yeah, he's big, he's in charge, he is a water elemental guy, and weak to lightning. I'll do some more videos about him later, but just taking a quick peek. As for the inbox, as you can see, nothing really too much is looking that different. I guess these are nice to see because it effectively helps you potentially get some more progress towards doing your runes. So, yay. And of course, the piece of equipment this time is Hope's Scarf, which is a very focus towards like the 13 units essentially. Most of it, I mean, for every unit you're looking at dark resistance and missile resistance, which is a pretty good combination, especially if you just hate Prompto, I guess. But The condition for the 13 characters gives them stop, charm, and blind resistance, as well as a little bit of human killer. So if you're interested in remotely in any of the Final Fantasy 13 units, I think you're going to want to be farming at least one of these, if not two, as it's a great accessory for any of them. It can be equipped by everybody. So yeah, nice little piece of equipment from this. I'm just going to get back to farming it as soon as I am done. But let's talk about our sleigh of new master abilities too, and we'll start with not the worst one by any means, but probably one of the lower tier characters to get a master ability to this time, Reviz. And Reviz gets a pretty nice upgrade. She gets the HP and Berserk resistance for the entire party. Berserk resistance, okay, interesting. Maybe lightning is just going to be good if you're ever against Mont or any Berserk causing units. Her evasion rate goes up by 10, AP consumption down by 20, HP up by 20%, and single target resistance up by 10. Pretty nice overall combination. Makes her, you know, more of a tank unit, gives her more evasion, gives her potentially a way of staving off damage, and reduces the overall cost of her kit. I'm pretty happy with Reviz like upgrade here. I mean, I don't know if she's the most evady unit you could potentially build at a lower tier with, you know, shadow links and whatnot. But if you were interested in evasion tank before, seems plausibly possible with this character. Anyway, a nice little boost to be certain. All right, so that, now let's go to the one of the more previously solid characters that was still being used, and I'm of course talking about the name that apparently I can't pronounce. Dwayne the White Number. Yeah, this is a powerful character who is getting more powerful, because essentially he got the attack and HP up for other characters. He got increased defense penetration by 20 for him, and increase attack by 30% and HP by 20%. Very bland in terms of overall what he got. Really, this is actually... All right, we'll just say that did I just switch that? Why is that not maxed? That's the one I was running originally. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that one. But overall, a high power boost for a already high damage dealing character. Now, PvE, I don't think that this boost is really all that exciting. PvP might make him a consideration. I mean, he was already pretty good. People were already using him if they didn't have some of the higher tier ones. And I think that this makes him fairly competitive. It's just maybe his survivability that's kind of an issue, but I'm glad they gave him more HP so that, you know, maybe he can survive a hit easier now and then do a drain and, you know, be ready to go. It's been kind of working out for Orlando in some of the videos I've been watching recently, so great. All right, next up, I think we'll just keep going where we were, and we're going to talk about, in my bravery category, Glassy. So original Glassy is getting a bit of an improvement. Last month we saw Regalia Glassy get an upgrade, and here we're seeing regular Glassy getting an upgrade, and overall HP increase and water attack increase for allies as usual. Attack by 40%, slash resistance by 30%. So you look now, he's just naturally very slash resistant, which is pretty good. And a 40% attack increase makes her much more in line with a lot of the other damage dealers out there. And overall, stat-wise, she's pretty comparable. Again, much like our previous character, a little bit on the survivability might hold her back from being a true PvP character, but she will continue to be useful, especially in PvE into the future with, you know, just good abilities. All right. Whew. All right. So yeah, last but not least, A character that Global was kind of championing recently, I saw on the Reddit, is Roldor. And Roldor, this is a character I've just never put that much. I was like immediately like, yes, I'm gonna build this character, I'm gonna use him. Oh wait, I don't have the orbs for him, never mind. So Roldor gets a pretty big increase with a defense penetration by 40, missile and pierce resistance by 15, fire attack by 20, and a 40% chance to counter doesn't activate. So, overall, more a durable character now. I don't think, again, that this will probably push him into being like insanely high tier, but he is a good counter against very specific units. He already was pretty brawly, and now he can deal more damage. The one thing on him is that the fire attack and the 40% chance that the counter attack does not activate is if his HP is below 80%. And I just don't know how I feel about that, because sure, he'll take a hit, and chances are he'll survive, because he has a good amount of HP, and if he's against the right type of opponents, then they're not probably going to be that effective at dealing damage, or maybe even killing him. Great, right? Like, you think about him against an ice elemental party, maybe, or just something. It's kind of a little bit annoying that it is essentially kind of like he is going to need to take damage to get his first, so you kind of want him to take damage, but that's a little bit risky without potentially a healer to back him up or something like that. And then if you're like in that kind of party, that means essentially that he and the tank are providing most of the offense. I don't know, Roldor, I mean, it's cool. He's always been on the verge of being really awesome, a really just angry fire fist punching character, but he's never really got there for me. And this, I feel like, kind of cements that. I mean, honestly, if I just have the extra resources, I'm probably going to try and build him, but I don't think that's the case here. Now, really quickly, I'm going to just talk about one more character, which is Glassy, because I didn't skip over this. There is one more mild improvement to Glassy that they've given, and that's on her, I think it's like the Shield Maiden or Battle Maiden. I don't remember what the global version calls it. But this ability, which is one of her cores that also gets upgraded into her EX, gets another upgrade. So before, it was just pierce attack and defense penetration. Great. All right, for 3 turns, that's a pretty good buff. Getting it into EX would give no more pierce attack and no more defense penetration, but it would also give AoE resistance and magic resistance, which is great. That makes Glassy more durable against different damage types and more of a brawler type character. That's nice. Now, we are getting an upgrade to the ability that it gives Glassy Protect for 5 turns. But that's not all. It also extends the buffs that she gets, all of her buffs. So the pierce attack, defense penetration, AoE resistance, and magic resistance. No longer is it a 3-turn buff, all of these are 5-turn buffs, which is a pretty big deal for her. I mean, it is a lot of a boost for her overall buffs that she's always going to be running anyway. This ups her damage, this ups her survivability, and with the Protect 2 now, gives her even more survivability. Now, there's plenty of ways to cancel this out. There's dispels out there. I'm not going to waste time talking about them because overall, this ability is just overall better for her to have. So if I'm talking about generals, I think Reviz is probably the nicest looking on paper. I've had enough experience with her to whether I would say that it's going to make a night and day difference, but maybe in limited, it's another strong consideration of a character to use in there. If we're talking about the URs here, Dwayne, it just very, very basic, very, very boring, but I think it will still be very effective for him. The only thing is that Dark potentially just has so many good units that he still might be like left out of the conversation just because, you know, burden of like fortune here kind of thing, or what's it called? not blessing of fortune, but like, not burden of fortune. Anyway, so he is very straightforward, nothing really to hate about it, except for maybe omissions of what a lot of other damage brawly characters can do. Speaking of which, Glassy with her master ability 2, and just the new ability does give her some of the things that I wish Dwayne got a little bit more. Dwan. I feel like I wanted him to get a little bit more in terms of survivability rather than just sticking HP on him and calling a day. A 5-turn buff is really good. I mean, that's just longer and you don't need to cast it again for a while. And it gives protect now. Like it's just a really great little ability, and it ups. She has more offense now, and even with the new spear from the new glassy event, she potentially has some ways of, you know, dealing some good damage with a great new spear. Yes, I know that new glassy only gets certain benefits from it, but yeah. And as for roldor is just such a big question mark for me. I mean, maybe this is really good. It is a lot more towards its offense and survivability, and all of that is really good. But it's always this question of, is there a good enough Esper for Fist? Is there a good enough blah, 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 blah. He's not like Snow. He doesn't have some of the new tricks that Snow has to make him potentially a character, but I might actually try and just build this character into EX in the near future and see what happens, because I'm curious enough that I hope that it's good enough to work out. But yeah, that's all for this video. Hope you found it informative and whatnot, as I gave some opinions on stuff. Glassy and Dwayne, I'm continuing to use and finding them really effective characters. And as for Reviz and roldor, both two characters that I'm really curious about, but probably just because of, you know, limited resources and not spending in this just to get more resources, probably gonna have to pass on them because it's just not worth it. Anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and see you next time.